Hey Lily, hey Isaac. Oh my God, what a shit show. Sorry, you guys.
How's it going? How's it going?
Oh, I've been better. Let me just catch everybody up with what's going on.
All
Okay,
right.
so I left this afternoon to drive to Tennessee for the Georgia Tennessee game. And of
Ooh.
course, yes. And so, of course, we plan our dinner time around me doing the show. And so we get off and are having dinner, and the whole thing about it is I need Wi-Fi. And so we made sure we went to a restaurant with Wi-Fi. When I walked in, I said, "Is your Wi-Fi working?" "Yes, ma'am, no problem." And I asked for a table way back in the corner, and I tell them I'm going to do a live broadcast. They're like, "No problem." We go back in the corner, order our food. We're eating, no problem. And it's time to do the space. And guess what? I start the space and there's nothing. And I knew there was a problem because it would not let me invite people to the space. So
Oh
I had my
no.
son, we had my son pull it up on his phone. He's like, "Yeah, it's nothing." So I left him at the restaurant, drove in the car about a mile to the Chick-fil-A, my handy dandy Chick-fil-A parking lot that has Wi-Fi, and here we are.
Well, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Exactly. And it's crazy, but that's, it is what it is, right? You can't plan for the unknown, as they say. So let me get started and let me say some welcomes to everybody and make a proper introduction. But first, I have some business to get out of the way. First of all, thanks to my sponsor, Elevator Results. If you need a tailor-made workout plan to help you lose weight or gain weight, Elevator Results can design that plan. Follow them on Twitter and check out their site at elevatorresultspt.com. Be reminded you can find the recordings of my spaces and my poker.org interviews on my YouTube channel at Sherry Pluskota 9212. Don't forget to come play poker with me in Malta. I'm hosting an event on October 31st at the Malta Poker Festival. October 29th through November the 3rd are the dates I'll be there. Don't forget your costumes. Before we get on to our fabulous guest this evening, I feel like we need to take pause. In the last week, our faith has been tested. A young Ukraine refugee lost her life at the hands of a career criminal, and we lost Charlie Kirk, a political debater who lost his life to a sniper. We as people, as in all of us, can choose to divide with our words and or actions, or we can choose to be leaders that protect everyone, not just the ones in our personal echo chamber. At this time, I would like for us to take a moment to reflect on what we can do in our lives to avoid being a part of the negative, and another moment to remember the two people that paid the ultimate price for living their lives the way they chose. And a third moment to remember the victims and the families of the terrorist attack of the Twin Towers on 9/11. So let's pause for a moment. Thank you, everybody. My guest this evening is Lily Newhouse, and she considers herself a cash game grinder turned mindset coach turned newspaper editor turned online pro. She is also a breast cancer survivor. Lily has a total earnings of $171,000 on her Hendon Mob, with a best live cash of over $46,000 for her 138th finish in the 2015 WSOP main event. Lily is a two-time online ring winner. Welcome, Lily Newhouse.
Thank you so much. It's so nice of you to have me. I appreciate the
Oh,
invite on the tails of your awesome interview with Mr. Jamin Burton, who I happen to adore.
well, and I have a new admiration for him myself. And
Aw.
thank you for your kind words. And I'm so happy when you said you would come on for an interview because I think you are a very fascinating person. And now that I've dove in, or some like to call it stalked you this week, so I can come up with some questions, I find you even more fascinating. So I've really
Aw.
been looking forward to this interview.
Thank
Let's
you.
start with some specifics. Absolutely, some simple stuff like how did you get started in poker?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, well, I started in poker when I was living in New York. I was working actually in the same business I am now, but on the magazine side. I was working for Condé Nast Traveler, and I would go to Atlantic City and just mess around there, and Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun, and just sort of I had no idea what I was doing. I believed all the things about, this hand is good, this hand is cursed. I just had no clue. But as well, two of my sisters actually are on here, and as they can attest to, I have always been very, very, very competitive. They got to the point where they would not play games with me when we were kids because I would just always win. I was not very nice
You
about
were
it.
that one. You were that one.
Yeah, exactly. So ended up moving to Florida, and I was living there when there was $100 cap on cash games, $100 buy-in cap. So I remember thinking like, oh, you can play 2-5 with $100. You just have to basically it was like we all just go all in the first bunch of hands so that then you can match the stack. And
Right.
so it would get crazy really quick. Some of the guys would play like 5-10 there. That to me was like really big because they're just like building stacks until they can get a deep game. But anyway, so I ended up going to visit Vegas from there for the World Series in 2010. I came out for 2 weeks. I was 6 months pregnant with my son Ace, and I went into labor while I was here.
Oh my! I didn't know that
Yeah,
story.
yeah. So my water broke at the Mirage. So I'm gonna try and get in on that auction, try and get like something from the Mirage when they sell everything off for like memories, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, but so because Ace was born 10 weeks early, he had to be in the NICU for I think he was in there for like 5 weeks. And so I stayed in Vegas, and I really had nothing to go back to in Florida. I didn't have any roots there. His biological father had already left. He left me and he had moved out of Florida. So I said, you know what, like let's just give poker a shot. When he was a newborn, I hired a nanny to sleep at my house for $50 a night, and I would go grind 1-3 all night, and then I would nap during the day because newborns sleep enough that I figured,
Right.
so that was kind of how I got my start. Like it was never like,
Wow.
oh, I'm gonna play poker for a living. It was just like, all right, well, things lined up, let's give this a shot, and sort of never looked back.
Good for you. It was out of necessity for just to live life, honestly, and take care of that
Yeah.
baby of yours. So good for you for the perseverance, and it certainly was not easy, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because I think now, at 40 with a partner and a son and a dog, and it's harder to just pick up and move and
Yeah.
that way, but at the time like I just had nowhere to go. My alternative was to go back and live with my parents in central Pennsylvania. And that idea of being 25 and back in central PA at my parents' house just sounded so depressing. I love my parents, but it's not where I wanted to
Sure.
live.
Sure.
And so yeah, I was like, okay, you know what? Let's try this. I have nothing holding me back, and it's been the best thing that ever happened to us, honestly. Like if it weren't for Ace, I don't think I ever would have moved here. And so I'm really grateful that it happened that way. I've met a lot of incredible people. I have a lot of really incredible girlfriends who, which is just so important to have. And
Absolutely. That
so
networking is a key to success in life.
yeah,
There's nothing
absolutely.
better than that networking, whether it's family or friends. It's so important. And it doesn't even really matter what your job in life is. That
Right.
networking is important. And I think sometimes we get so busy that we forget to keep cultivating that network. And I think it's a little easier to do in poker just because of your time. And
Yeah.
you're at the poker table often with those people. And your network. But yeah, let's keep cultivating those networks. How many times have you played the main event?
How many times have I played the main? That's a really good question. Maybe 4 or something like that.
Is that a priority for you, or is it just a yeah? If I do it this year, I do it. If not, if not.
It was a priority for me on and off. And in fact, I took 2 weeks off of work, not this summer, but last summer to be able to play it. This
Nice.
summer, because I've been really focusing on my career, I felt like it wasn't worth the trade-off for me. I'm just trying to sort of like, let um, my company know that I'm really committed, and that's kind of where my focus is right now. And I've kind of put poker on the back burner until I have a little more space for it.
Well, good for you. Sometimes poker gets in the way of life, and sometimes life gets in the way of poker, and you got to keep it balanced. That's for sure. What advice would you give for a person that would be playing their first main event next summer?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay. One of my pieces of advice would be that it's more like a cash game in the sense that you have a lot of time to wait. So you don't have to be you don't have to take very many risks, especially in the first, 2 days or so. It tends to be that a lot of the field in those early days is really soft. They're not doing anything special that you are trying to hero call them for. They're not bluffing all in on day one. I busted day one this past year with a king high flush second nuts to an ace high flush, which was the nuts on that board. And honestly, I should have folded. That is how much people value their tournament life on day one of the main. Like, everybody just wants to bag. Nobody wants to have to say they busted. Nobody wants, 4 hours of value for $10,000. So my biggest advice is really just, I don't want to say you have to play tight, because that implies that you're not picking spots or anything, but just know they have it.
Right. And don't take unnecessary chances, because they probably have it. Hello.
Yes. Exactly. They don't have that jam in their range because it's such an amateur field is really why. You step into a 10K in the Poker Ghost studio, that advice needs to be burned at the stake, but this tournament is so different. So many people just YOLO it or satellite in. There's so many ways to get in for really cheap, and someone's winning all of those satellites, so you have to consider the fact that the field is not a 10K field. In fact, I would say a lot of the tables, or at least often, I will land at a table on day 1 or 2 that's as soft as a win nightly.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. Do you have any pre-game ritual that you do before going to a poker session?
I used to. I think now there's more of muscle memory of shifting gears. You know what I mean? That ability to just lock in that environment, because I've done it so many times. I do a lot of things off the table. I have finally got myself to be a full-blown meditator. I regularly meditate. I've been doing that on and off for years, but I've had a hard time making it a permanent practice, and I've finally kind of found that life hack, and so I would say I do a lot of self-care, a lot of mental health care, therapy, all of the things, mindfulness activities that I try to do now to where I can lock in when I need to. But in the earlier years, and especially playing an event like the main event, when I'm playing the main event, I don't talk to anyone on my breaks about poker. I put my headphones on, I go to the bathroom, I find somewhere quiet, and I don't want my brain cluttered with anyone else's thoughts, anyone else's hand histories, anyone else's energy. I just want to stay in my space. I leave my phone in my bag, So, which I do anyway, honestly. Like, I could be playing a $200 tournament and my phone is in my bag unless I'm on breaks, because I
Uh,
think people just
I get
miss
in
so
trouble.
much.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I get in trouble for that all the time
Really?
because I don't have my phone out and people are trying to text me about dinner or this or
Yeah.
that, and then they're mad at me because they can't find me. Where are you? And I have 20 messages that I'm not
Yep.
responding to until, guess what, I'm ready to respond, and they get so mad at me. It's kind of comical, but I tell them going in, I don't. You're not going to be able to get a hold of me, so
Yeah.
don't get mad. And they forget because we're so tied to our phones, right? And
Exactly.
that instant answer when you send a text message. And
Yep.
it's so funny you said that because I'm a firm believer in that. And I too like to have my breaks where it's just peace and quiet. And I'll take a walk over by myself somewhere in a corner. And I appreciate those words. Do you carry a backpack?
Oh, yes, I do. And
Okay, what's in your backpack?
okay, what's in my backpack? Well, it used to be more things. I think like I would just like be like I was going camping. Now, it's my box key if I'm at the Win, or otherwise, cash. So please don't rob me, but um, it's headphones, noise canceling headphones, because I mean, I can't live without them. I don't like to wear them at the table unless I really need like a mindset reset, because I do think that misses too much valuable information, especially in a tournament when every decision is so vital. But I do use them on breaks to clear my head or to shift my energy or something. And then what else is in my bag? A hoodie, unless I already have it on. Snacks, if I remember to bring them. That's about it. Like I pack pretty light these days.
I hear you. It is so funny. I can remember when you said that, you felt like you were going camping. I think everybody goes through that when they first decide, okay, I'm going to start carrying a backpack, if for no other reason, water and snacks.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you've got this in there and that in there and this in there. And, 50 pounds later, you are like dragging this backpack into the poker room.
Yep.
And and now I don't even carry a backpack. I'll take like a crossbody or something, but it still weighs 10 pounds. I'm not going to say
Right.
it's not loaded with crap, but it's just not quite as much. So I find that funny that you said that. What do you do to improve your game? How do you study?
How do I study? I think I'm best in an environment where I have to be held externally accountable, which is something I've found in life for myself in general. So I do better if I have either coaching sessions like that are scheduled that I have to do. So I'll work with a one-on-one coach, or I was a big Jaka student. I think his site and his group and his community is phenomenal. Unless you're trying to be at like some super elite level that you already know all of this stuff, like it is fantastic. And one thing I like about his community is he does trainings live, and then of course you can watch them on video, but it's another thing where it's like, okay, I have this on my calendar. And then also just looking at hands with GTO Wizard, looking at ranges. I would say that was the other piece of the puzzle that was really important for me. Like, if you don't have a GTO Wizard or some kind of tool very similar in this time, in this day and age, playing poker, like, I don't know how you could ever win.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Here in Spaces, we hear through interviews and just conversations about poker, we hear both flips of that coin.
Mm-hmm.
The pro GTOs, the not so much, I play for feel, so to speak, or there
Mm-hmm.
are lots of us that are like in the middle. You got to know the GTO, but it's also, sometimes you don't use it as much as other
Yeah.
times, right?
Yeah.
And so it is an interesting conversation for sure.
Yeah.
Let's move on to. I'm going to ask you one more question before we move on to the big game. Go ahead, Isaac.
Well, actually, I had a question really quick about GTO and field playing. When you started playing, were you already studying GTO, or were you more of a field player in the beginning?
I started playing in 2010, so that was the era of poker books, and when everyone was devouring every poker book they could find, and that's exactly what I did at first. I mean, it's the classic, like I read Super System, I read every book that you can find on your shelf that was published by 2010 or 2015, like I read over and over. And then other than that, I think talking hands with people, talking about strategy with people. I often had friends in the poker community that I'm close with, and so people I respect that I can bounce ideas off of. Once there was more of an advent of technology solving spots and solving the game, I just had to go that direction, because if it's available, someone has memorized it, and you want to be at least on par with what they know. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I would say that's kind of how it went.
Super dope, super dope. Thank you for that. Yeah, I was wondering because, like you said, you were grinding 1-3, and
Mhm.
like how long, if you remember, like how long did it take you to jump from 1-3 to like higher stakes, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, for sure. I think I would say it was like a year or two of playing 1-3 before I moved up. I think the biggest change for me in moving up was just understanding that each game plays very differently. 1-3 plays differently from 2-5, plays different from 5-10 and 10-20. So, and then you can have some games, like big games, like I used to play in the, like Trash Talk Tuesday and all those like games. And you have some games where the stakes are higher, and they're not the same game that you would find at a casino, but just you have to be able to know the game you're in and what people are doing, I think. And that's kind of the biggest key, I would say, to moving up.
Awesome.
Super dope. Last question.
Go ahead.
Um, did your son take on your last name?
Uh, yeah, well, so he was Ace Newhouse. Then he was when I got married, he was Ace Torrance, and now actually this past year I just got paperwork. He actually changed his last name. He asked us to change his last name to Ace Newhouse Torrance. So now he has a hyphenated last name from both mom and dad. So
That's super dope
yeah,
because I was like, Ace Newhouse sounds epic.
I know, right?
So
It's
super
a
dope,
great
super
name.
dope.
Thank you.
Absolutely a great name. Okay, I want to talk about one other thing before we get on to the big game. And I hope that you will remember what I'm about to bring up, but if not, just let me know. But I caught a glimpse of a tweet you posted that kind of lets cancer survivors off the hook
Mhm.
for promoting Pink October.
Yeah.
And I think your take is a very valid one and should be shared. So,
Mhm.
do you remember what I'm speaking about?
I don't remember the exact tweet, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Please
um,
enlighten our listeners, because I think it is a flip of the flip side of a coin that should be said out loud. And for those that may not know, Lily is a breast cancer survivor, so congratulations on that. But please go ahead.
yeah, well, thank you. That's such an interesting question. I've never been asked anything like that, and I do agree with you that it's something that I don't think people would really think of or understand if they hadn't been through it. But um, what I find is there's two different kinds of breast cancer survivors, and I can't speak to other cancers, but I'm guessing it translates out to a lot of illnesses you can survive, which is that there are people who make it a part of their identity that survived, want to be a part of that community, and want to give back, want to find a cure. Like they make it a part of who they are and what their mission is. And I
And I'm sure all of our listeners have people like that in their life. I mean, I do. I have friends that have survived, and they do walks every year,
Yeah.
and they do promotions for T-shirts and so on and so forth. And they do consider it a big piece of their life. But the flip side of this is as what I'm alluding to, and you know where I'm
Exactly.
going with it. So
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and let you finish.
Yeah, so and I admire that, and I think that's, I mean, I admire them so much. We need all of those women fighting for breast cancer and survivors and awareness. I mean, so for me, I'm the other side of the coin, which is that it was a very traumatic thing for me to go through cancer, and to go through cancer with my family, seeing what it did to my mom and my dad and my son. And so it's not something I want to think about all the time. It's not something I want to identify with. I identify as a cancer survivor and as a breast cancer survivor, but it's something I hope to never deal with again. In fact, this morning I got a CT scan, which is part of my regular follow-ups to make sure I don't have cancer. I get tumor tests every 6 months. So I already get re-triggered enough. And that for me is just something that I never would have expected, honestly, because when I was going through breast cancer, I was a part of a support group of women who were really close. We would go out to drinks together. We did a survivor photo shoot together. I mean, those women, I could not have gotten through cancer without them. Nobody else besides someone who's going through it or has been through it knows what it feels like. And you have to have people who know what you're going through that can relate to you, and not just people who are like, wow, that's hard, you're really strong. And there's nothing wrong with that either, but they just don't know what to say. But after that, I kind of said those friends were for a season of my life that we really needed each other. But now I don't want to think about cancer any more than I have to. And so I
Well,
think you can let yourself off the hook. You don't have to be
absolutely.
that person just because you had the disease,
Honestly, I think when I read the tweet, I was like, oh, it's so profound, because thank God, I've not had to go through the fight myself,
Mhm.
but those that have witnessed, like I have, others go through it, that, we help support them by supporting what they want to do as far as the limelight on the topic. And, I do think we need to think about some folks just don't want that limelight and they want to move on. And it's okay. I mean, and I support it 1,000%, whatever take somebody wants to take. But it's, I don't think I've ever seen somebody verbalize it, or in this
Mhm.
case, it was in print. And I thought it was so profound and something that needed to be said out loud. So I appreciate you giving us your forethought on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely, I appreciate you. Okay, in 2024, you appeared on the Poker Star show, The Big Game, as the loose cannon. And I know some of my audience members are excited about this part of the conversation because they talked to me about it. For those that may not be familiar with The Big Game and your role as a loose cannon, can you give us a description?
Yeah, for sure. The big game is what I would refer to as everyone's favorite old poker show. It was, the show we all loved and watched during the days of Jason Mercier and, Daniel Negreanu and all of those, just like the classic days when everybody was watching poker TV. And so they revised it. This past year, and they've continued to the big game, what they call the big game on tour, which is essentially very similar to the original, but yeah, with a new spin on it. And so I thought that was just like, I mean, that's always been, was, and is my favorite poker show, of all time. So yeah, it was pretty
It's
cool.
so fun. It's so fun. And um, the premise. So, you want to tell us about your starting stack and what
Sure.
happens? The whole concept.
Yes. So they pick someone, an amateur, to play with a table of pros and celebrities. It is six max, and you start with $50,000. So, well, in the season I did, they gave me $50,000, and anything I won, I got to keep, and anything I lost was just their loss. So, the game was 100, 200. pot limit pre-flop. So they don't want the loose cannon to be able to just jam pre-flop because that's just not that interesting and it makes it too easy for them. So they give us pot limit pre-flop so that we have to really, play pots and then you play, what is it, 100 hands? No, I don't even remember. 150 hands.
It was
Yeah,
150.
150. And so, and that's your time frame. So it creates an interesting trajectory based on where your stack is given at any given time, and your strategy changes very drastically throughout that.
Now, how did you get picked? What did the process look like of getting picked?
So, I went to a single table sit and go, and you had to play a single table satellite essentially to get an audition. So I won my single table satellite, and there were 20 of us who did and got auditions. And then the next day, they did 3 rounds of auditions to narrow it down to 2 loose cannons.
Awesome. And congratulations on that process and becoming the loose cannon, of course.
Thank
And
you.
I believe I read or heard somewhere you were playing for a swimming pool. Is this true?
Well, at the time, that was the idea, right? So, Jamin and I had just bought a house, and it's a new build, so the backyard is dirt, and so
Right.
I was like, you know what, our next project is the backyard. I'm going to buy a swimming pool for us. It turned out we landscaped differently. We didn't go with a pool, but that $50,000 or so went a long way towards my dream backyard. I spent a lot of time out there, so.
Oh, that's awesome. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I know you got crippled in the first couple of hands. I know it's painful, but can we relive them for our audience sake?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So going in, my strategy was to sit back, get the lay of the land, get comfortable at the table before I would play a hand. Of course, that's not what happened on hand. I think it was hand 3. I pick up ace king to Sam Grafton's jacks. He flopped a set. I flopped an ace. Rivered another ace, and it was disaster zone. So I was down to, I think, like 14,000 from 50, 3 hands in. Jamin hadn't even made it to the filming yet. He was still like on his way. And I was just, so shell shocked. So, oh man, that was a rough moment for sure.
I can't even imagine what it felt like. But as an audience member watching it, you catch your breath and you're like, oh shit! Like
Yeah,
it could not have gotten any worse right off the bat. I
exactly.
felt for you. I
Thank
felt
you.
for you.
Thank you. It was definitely an
Oh,
emotionally exhausting trajectory.
yeah. And you mentioned your honey's name, and he came on up. So welcome, Jamin.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I'm just milling around my hotel room in the Borgata.
Oh, the Borgata. Good old Atlantic City. Well, what are you playing, sir?
I am not playing anything right now. I am on the list for 5, 10, and 10, 20 both, but neither game is currently running.
Oh, all right. So you're going to just play cash? You're going to do any tournaments while you're there?
I'm just playing cash tonight. I'll probably jump into day 1A of the main event tomorrow.
Oh, very good. Well, good luck. Was there something you'd like to bring up or chat about, or?
Oh, no, not really.
All right. I just want to
Not
make sure
really.
you give the opportunity because you know her better than any of us do. If you want to
Yeah,
spill the beans.
I might ask some tough questions later.
All right, deal.
Wow, thanks, babe.
He can say that because he's at the Borgata across the country
Exactly.
and not in the room next door. So he's feeling his oats right now, I think. But who do I know? Okay, so all right. I know you're not a big tournament player, but I still want to talk to you about this because I'm just trying to get some different points of view. Um, what are the most times you've rebought into a tournament, a live tournament? Because I know you play a lot of online, but live tournament.
Yeah. What's the most times? I think probably 3 is my guess. Like nothing crazy. I think that you hit a point, like if you've busted 3 times or even twice sometimes, that you're just not in the mindset to play well. Or it's hard to be. It's very hard to let it go. So if there's another day 1, then sure, like that makes more sense, I think. But at some point, I think, it's diminishing returns and it's time to kind of cut your losses.
Well, and I've always said, those that know me the longest, I've always said, if I have to rebuy more than once, okay, maybe twice is okay. But if I have to rebuy more than twice, I should be at a practice table, not at the real thing. And people used to laugh at me, but I'm serious. If I can't, get somewhere by my second bullet, then I shouldn't be there. But that's just my personal opinion. And people just laugh when I say that. But here in Spaces, we've had several discussions about rebuys. And it really kind of stemmed out of a player, and I'm not going to call him out. Everybody knows who it is because I interviewed him shortly after, but I don't want to keep calling his name out. It's more about the topic that I want to discuss. And back in, I think it was February, he was down in Biloxi, and he rebought 36 times into a $400 tournament. And so I'm going to ask you the question. The world of poker is putting a new rule into place, and we want your input, Lily. We're going to limit the number of rebuys into all tournaments in the world. How many rebuys do you think players should be allowed?
3.
3. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And believe it or not, his answer was under 5. And then he said, but as long as they're going to let me do what I do, I'm going to keep doing it, which I thought was really interesting, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, more power to him. I'm not complaining. He's, adding to the prize pool and he's having fun. Let him do what he wants to do.
Well, and, for me, once I started thinking about it, of course, we started talking about it. I agree with that on the surface, but then I have to think about the overall game.
Yeah.
And him and the other people at that table, because there were times that he was able to stay at the same table for several rebuys. The fact that the chip stacks at that table now became, that table had a lopsided amount of chips in comparison to other tables. And what if it's a new player at the table? Is it fair for that experience? So there's, so on the surface, yes, but when you start really looking at it, is it really what we want? Is it really good for the game? I'm not sure. And why can't we just say 6 rebuys? And how many people are actually doing more than 6? Are we catering to maybe 4 people that would do more than 6, or are we catering to 100 people that may do more than 6? Like, what are the actual numbers? We really don't know. But anyway, I'm just off on a tangent. So let me wind it
All
back
good.
in.
I do think, you know what though, like you said, like I do think like it's an outlier situation that people are really, I don't know if you want to call it abusing it, but whatever, that are doing that. And even when they're putting that money back into the prize pool. So like I don't see it being a huge problem. I don't mind it being limited because I do understand that for sure. And I think there's a lot of good reasons, especially poker community friendly reasons to do it. Me personally,
Right.
I don't care what people do. I let them have their rebuys, and hopefully they're just going to dump it to me. I do think they shouldn't be at the same table though. That's rough.
Yeah, that was when I heard that, I was like, oh wait, that's
Mm-hmm.
just a different layer to this, right? Because that's just, yeah, I don't want to see that happening.
Yeah,
Moving them around, okay, yeah. Do you have a Pinterest account?
I do have a Pinterest account. Yes.
Okay, I'm so keeping my fingers crossed that I just saw in a like I just do Google searches of the names of my guests to see what comes up, and this Pinterest account with your name says you have 244 nail designs pinned. Is that you?
God, I did not know that other people could look at your Pinterest. First of all, if I had known you could look at my Pinterest, I would have like privatized that shit. Okay,
Okay, for the record, wait a minute.
you're
For the
right.
record, I did not look at your Pinterest. It was just one of the things that came up
Are you
on
kidding
this
me?
Google search. It said that you have a Pinterest account and there's 244 nailed. Like it gave like four different things that you had pinned. Like it was probably your most things that are pinned
Yeah,
categories or whatever.
yeah.
And I was like, because I love nail design, so I was like, I'm asking her if it's
That is
When you
hilarious.
said when you said 244 nail designs, the way my eyebrows went up and my mouth dropped, I wish I had a picture of that. Yeah, let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about these nail designs, Lily.
Okay.
okay. Who you
I have had the same nail tech for 13 years, first of all. She's someone that is, a very important part of my life, and her husband also, who is also a nail tech. So I like getting my nails done mostly because they rip. If I don't have someone do something to me, they just break. So, and really, to be honest, it's so funny you say that because the only thing I really use Pinterest for the most part, I mean, I've been using it a little bit lately for like house decor design and stuff for Jamin and I looking at ideas. But
Sure.
the main thing I look at it for is just like nail ideas to show my nail tech, like ideas for each holiday. Like it's
I so
I mean,
relate.
that's
I so relate. And I was like, I'm so asking her about this.
that is hilarious. I didn't even know any of that, and I definitely would not have guessed 244.
Well, now you're obligated to send me pictures of your favorite designs off your Pinterest account because now
Oh my god! Well, now I will.
I'm just
We're gonna be
curious
nail
now,
friends.
and maybe I'll use some of them myself. So please do DM me some.
When I get my nails done, I'm just gonna be sending you pictures every 3 weeks.
Yes,
You're gonna get a photo.
yes, I'm in. I'm in. And for those of us that get our nails done regularly, we all have those things pinned somewhere. So she is not alone. And
You know what? When people are seeing your nails at the poker table constantly, like, I mean, your hands are like my hands were on TV. Like
100%. I'm in. I totally agree. I am so in, and it's funny because when I go get mine done, my gal, who I've been with for years as well, she'll say, "Okay, are we doing poker nails? Or are you going to be home for a while?"
Exactly. Yes. It's just fun. It's a fun way, like that's very non-permanent to, I don't know,
It's
be
hilarious.
creative.
It is fun just to yeah, I love it. Okay, we're going to move on from the nails now that I called you out on that one. Um, But I'm going to tell you, it wasn't hard to figure out how your life was steered into journalism. I found a story of the late David Newhouse, your dad,
Yeah.
and what a successful man in life. And I'm sure he's shining down and smiling down on what you're doing and your siblings are doing in life as well. He was the editor at the Patriot News in Pennsylvania when that Jerry Sandusky sex abuse story broke. And your dad took that newspaper and that storyline on to win a Pulitzer Prize. Like, wow, Lily. How did that point in time affect you? And, congrats to your late dad. And what an accomplishment.
Yeah. So it's pretty amazing. They actually just named an investigative reporting fellowship for him at the Syracuse University.
Awesome.
So he was the editor of the Harrisburg Patriot News. He had a rookie reporter who started doing some investigating and started to uncover that there was stuff going on about this that nobody had reported on. Nobody had picked up that there was something there.
Right.
And he nurtured her investigation, and they broke the story. And then my mom actually just had framed for me. I'm going to hang it in my office. He wrote a full full front page editorial. He published, the front page was just his letter, essentially calling for the resignation of Joe Paterno, and he did resign. And I think it was a brave thing to do in a way. I think that
Absolutely.
investigative journalism, I think, is so important. I think it's, I mean, we don't have a lot of media that is not owned by like a small number of people. We are on social media where we don't know what's true or not. I've seen investigative journalism in that instance and in so many smaller ones make change, affect the decisions of lawmakers or institutions. So he took that paper to win a Pulitzer. He also won the Ben Bradley Editor of the Year award, who was the guy who broke Watergate. And it was pretty amazing, and
It is
he
amazing.
deserved that recognition for his commitment to journalism and his hard work.
Well, and I also appreciated reading the fact that he went after the New York Times because they published enough information that people were very easily, or how can I say, were easily able to figure out the victims' names.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I so appreciated the fact that he called out the New York Times for making the victims' names so easily found out. And I really, I've worked in rape victim advocacy program before, and I highly value the privacy of the victims.
Yeah.
And your dad was on the forefront of calling out the New York Times for almost, not quite, publishing the names of the victims. And in the way they did it, it was
Yeah.
easy to research and find out within 3 minutes or less the names of the victim. And so your dad was just, I just enjoyed reading about the fact that he owned a bookstore, that his journey
Yeah.
was amazing. And I thought to myself as I read about your dad's accomplishments, why you're such an overachiever and why your love of
Yeah.
journalism is shining through in your life. So kudos to you for carrying on his legacy.
Thank you. That means so much to me, and I think that's exactly what I'm trying to do. It motivates me not to fill his shoes, but they are big shoes to fill, and I want to make the difference that I can make in that field. I think it's a field where you can make a really big difference in one direction or another, and I've really fallen in love with news. It sounds weird, but
No, I'm going to tell you, I've been a big news buff my whole life. I would have the TV on every day, 12 hours a day with different news channels. I watched every news channel up until about, I don't know, 8 or 10 years ago. And then I shut it off because there was no longer any truth in any reporting. And it
yeah.
was very disappointing because I do love the news and I want to hear the side of the story, all sides of the story, so I can make an informed decision of and find the truth somewhere in the middle. And we don't do that anymore. And it's really a detriment to our society.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, it's interesting because I work in local news. We have markets all over the country. And I never really knew anything about local news. I thought, oh, who cares? It's like, well, this person's selling their farm, the store closing in the middle of nowhere. And what I learned by working in it is this is the heartbeat of these communities. Like, we're the
Right.
people reporting and telling the stories and telling you what's happening in, I run the sites for our Staten Island market and our Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania market. And these are communities that are small enough that people know each other, people care. I mean, Staten Island is so interesting because they have like best dressed from this person's, wedding. Like, people
Right.
care about their community, and we're serving that need, and we're also shaping the communities and giving voices to people and telling stories of incredible people. And so I had no idea.
Well, kudos to you. kudos to you for continuing on your dad's legacy and having the passion yourself. I'm going to
Thank
let the
you.
audience, you're welcome. I'm going to let the audience members know that if they want to come up and ask any questions or give us any comments, go ahead and click on that request button on the bottom left, folks. You're more than welcome to do so. Isaac, go right ahead, buddy.
In reporting on Staten Island, does that ever have any kind of news regarding Wu Tang?
Oh, God.
Oh my God, all the time. If you go to silive.com and just search Wu-Tang, I mean, everything that Wu-Tang does there's an article about it. I promise you. There was one, I think, Friday
I
or
love
Thursday.
it.
Sorry, it is Thursday. Yeah, yesterday, I think they were doing something.
I love you, Isaac.
That is awesome.
And
That is
Pete
awesome.
Davidson, that's the other one that we get. Everything Pete Davidson does because he's from Staten Island.
Yep. Yep. Super cool.
Isaac, you are so funny. I love it so much. I love it. I love it. Any other questions, Isaac?
I'm a Wu baby. I can't do anything about it. I've been a Wu Tang fan since I was a
I
little
hear
kid.
you.
So,
I hear you.
yep.
All right. Tell us, are there any players that you have not played with on the felt that you would like to?
Cool. That's a good question. Hmm. I think if I were to play against anyone or would say I would be interested in playing against anyone, I mean, the obvious answer is Phil Ivey, but like for the real answer would be like some of these top women in poker, I think would be really fascinating to play against. The woman who won the ladies event back to back, I think would be really cool to play against.
Oh,
I
Okamoto.
mean, yes, yeah. Sorry, I couldn't remember her
That's
name at
okay.
the moment.
Sheena
But yeah, so
Okamoto.
I mean, I think those would be some cool battles.
Heck yes. And, I think that for me, there are just some people that I've not had the opportunity, the Phil Hellmuths of the world, the Jennifer Tilly. I would love to play poker with Jen Tilly. I just think she's such a delight at the poker table and she's just so funny, right? And
She is cool. I liked her a lot.
yeah, I uh,
She
I
is fun.
I appreciate her table presence for sure. I'm going to welcome ASG to the panel. Go right ahead, buddy.
Yeah, uh, just came up because I wasn't aware about your family or your journalism background, so I was wondering if you had any
Oops.
thoughts on poker media with them, needing the operators in order to get paid enough to really cover an event, but still then you're really now just PR for the operator instead of being like a news organization.
Yeah. Um, I think that I think I think that there are a lot of really great, passionate reporters in poker and always have been. Um, and a large number being comparative to the field. But there are some really great people in poker media, and not just reporters. There's some really great people in poker media who love what they do, who do a good job. So I think on that level, there is some great stuff going on in poker media. Um, the flip side, yeah, like you said, I mean, it's not a very profitable field, poker media, I'm guessing. I can only imagine. So I think they just kind of are stuck between a rock and a hard place with revenue sources. So I think it would be way worse if we were doing like crime news, but it's not ideal.
Right on. Go ahead, ASG, if you have any other questions or comments, ASG.
Oh yeah, so I was previously gonna ask. So about the big game, I just had some question. Sorry if I missed it. I had to step out for a minute. When it comes to like behind the scenes with while you were playing, did Nadia give you any advice regarding like when to stop? Definitely like don't run it twice, even if they offer, because with how many hands left, etc. Like, was any of that kind of advice given?
Yeah, we did talk about it because it's such a unique format. I would say primarily the coaching from her for me wasn't strategy based because I think I don't mean to sound any kind of way, but I know what she knows about poker strategy wise, but it was very helpful to have someone who had been through that exact experience coaching us. That level of relating to what it feels like to be in that moment, and all that things, having navigated, the same poker waters also, was really, really helpful.
Awesome question, ASG. Any others?
No, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, ASG. Welcome, Matt. Do you have any questions or comments?
Hey Sherry, thanks for having me on. Hello to Isaac, SG, and Lily. Great to talk to you. How are you doing here? Are you keeping well over there?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here.
It's such a pleasure to talk to you. And once again, many congratulations with the big game on tour. What was your highlights, and who did you enjoy playing with?
What were my highlights? Who did I enjoy playing with? My highlights were the audition process, having that, like, being picked with Nikki, who's also a friend, was probably the best feeling, other than, I mean, winning $100,000 pot was nice too. Those were probably the best two feelings. But, like, honestly, like, it was such a fun moment for us to do it together. That was really the highlight for me, was doing it with her, and going through it with her. And then from a poker game standpoint, I really enjoyed playing with Sam Grafton. He's got a really fun table presence, and also like, good banter with the other players and stuff. Obviously, I don't want a beast like that to my left, but from a personality and energy standpoint, that was fun. Obviously, Maria Ho is just, like, the sweetest person on the planet. So that was really, really nice too. But I just had a good time. Like, I think more than just one person, I think our table dynamic was really fun.
It was a fun table. Go ahead, Matt.
I can definitely agree with that because I watched every episode and I also reviewed each episode as well. Don't worry, Lily, I put some nice things on. So if you want to
Okay.
read them, feel free.
Oh, good. That's fine then.
I love it. Thank you, Matt, for your questions. I appreciate
You're more
it.
than welcome. Sherry, I'm going to have to unfortunately leave early. I know normally I stay a bit longer, but I've got something I need to take care of in the morning. So I wish you all have a very lovely evening
Thank you so
where
much.
you
Thank
are.
you so much.
I appreciate you staying up. It's in the middle of the night right now where you're at, and I appreciate you staying up as long as you have to listen tonight, Matt. Thank you.
Normally I would stay up to about, say, 2:30 in the morning because it's 25 to 2 in the morning over this side. But
Right.
Sherry, as you know, as a regular listener, it's the least I can do for you.
Thank you so much, Matt. I appreciate your support for sure. Get some rest, my friend. All right, Lily, I like to do a little thing called rapid fire. I'm going to give you two choices. You can choose one or you can pass. Are you game?
I'm game.
All right. Comedy movies or Hallmark movies?
Comedy.
Pizza or burger?
Burger.
Do the dishes or do the cooking?
Dishes.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Gummy bears or Sour Patch Kids?
Sour Patch Kids.
Texting or a phone call?
Um, Depends how much I like the person.
Now that's hilarious. I appreciate you playing. And you know what? I appreciate your time, and I'm going to let you off the hook. And so you can finish enjoying your Friday night. And I appreciate you and your efforts. I hope you can join me again in the future. and we catch up again, and stop by anytime and give us some updates if you got something going on. You want to promote something, you want to tell us what's going on in your poker, if you're at a tournament or something, we'd love to hear it. We would love for you to stop by.
Thank you so much. It's been really my pleasure. I think you're such a great interviewer and such a cool person. And I might actually leave Twitter downloaded on my phone so I can listen to you in the future.
Oh, thank you so much for those kind words. I do it because I just love poker. And I love getting to know people and getting my audience a chance to talk with somebody that maybe they wouldn't have a chance. Like Matt is over in the UK, so for him to run into you would be really difficult. So I really appreciate your kind words, and please stop by anytime. We'd love to have you and your man. He was a delight as well a couple weeks ago when we got to know him a little bit better, Jamin. And I appreciate my audience members listening tonight, Isaac and ASG, for your help here on the panel. I see you, D-Man, and Snoop and Barry. And I believe that's your sister down there without.
Yeah, Macrina. That's my sister.
I appreciate you stopping by and getting to know what spaces are. Lily, again, thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope you all have a great weekend.
Thanks. You too, bub.
Bye.